Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Vantresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila, chapter 3rd, the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur, text 47. So yesterday we discussed how Mahaprabhu, this young boy in Jagannath Puri was very fond of Mahaprabhu and would come see Mahaprabhu. Damodar Pandit got little upset with Mahaprabhu, saying, why are you seeing him? And Mahaprabhu then sent Damodar Pandit to Navadvip to be with his mother, Shachit Mata. चैतन्य लीला गंभीर कोटि समुद्र हईते की लागी की करे केहा न पारे बुझीते. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are deeper than millions of seas and oceans. Therefore, no one can understand what he does or why he does it. अतएव गूढ़ अर्थ किछु न जानी बाह्य अर्थ करि बारे करि टाना टानी. I do not know the deep meaning of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. As far as possible, I shall try to explain them externally. एक दिन प्रभु हरि दासे रे मिलीला ताहा लया गोष्ठी करी ताहा रे पूछीला. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Haridas Thakur as usual, and in the course of discussion, he inquired as follows. हरिदास कलि काले जवन अपार गो ब्राह्मणे हिंसा करे महादुराचार. My dear Haridas Thakur, in this age of Kali, most people are bereft of Vedic culture, and therefore they are called Yavans. They are concerned only with killing cows and Brahmanical culture. In this way, they all engage in sinful acts. From this statement by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can clearly understand that the word Yavan does not refer only to a particular class of men. Anyone who is against the behavior of the Vedic principles is called a Yavan. Such a Yavan may be in India or outside of India. As described here, the symptom of Yavan is that they are violent killers of cows and Brahmanical culture. We offer our prayers to the Lord by saying Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanitaya. The Lord is a maintainer of the Brahmanical culture. His first concern is to see to the benefit of cows and Brahmins. As soon as human civilization turns against Brahmanical culture and allows unrestricted killing of cows, we should understand that men are no longer under the control of the Vedic culture but are Yavans and Malechas. So any person against Brahmanical culture and allows unrestricted killing of cows, it could be anybody, as Prabhupada says. It is said that the Krishna consciousness movement will be prominent within the next 10,000 years. But after that, people will all become Malechas and Yavans. Thus, at the end of Yuga, Krishna will appear as a Kalki avatar and kill them without consideration. So 10,000 years, of which 500 years have already passed. Iha sabar kon mate hai venistara tahara hetu na dekhiye dukha para. How will these Yavans be delivered? To my great unhappiness, I do not see any way. So Mahaprabhu said, this is his characteristic. He's unhappy about even the Yavans who are killers of cows and killers of Brahmanical culture. We are all his children. So he's worried about all of us. And Mahaprabhu said, I do not see any way. Of course, Mahaprabhu knows the way, but now he wants to glorify Haridas Thakur. This verse reveals the significance of Lord Sri Chaitanya's appearance as Patit Pavan, the deliverer of all the fallen souls. Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings, Patita Pavan Hetu Tava Avatar. O my Lord, you have appeared just to deliver all the fallen souls. Mosam Patita Prabhu na pai payar. And among all the fallen souls, I am the lowest. How Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always thinking about the deliverance of the fallen souls is shown by the statement, Ei dukha apar, it is my great unhappiness. This statement indicates that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, himself is always very unhappy to see the fallen souls in the material. And yes, he is very unhappy to see the fallen souls in the material world. And moreover, he knows that these Yavans, they are definitely going to go down to the bottom of the hellish planets for all these activities. But at the same time, he doesn't take away their independence. So that's the purpose. So therefore, he comes himself comes as he is, or he comes as a devotee in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to deliver love of Krishna directly to the fallen souls. Namo Mahavadanya, Krishna Prem Pradaya. Mahavadanya meaning most magnificent incarnation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that he not only gives knowledge of Krishna, but by his practical activities teaches everyone how to love Krishna. Those who are following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should take the Lord's mission very seriously. In this age of Kali, people are gradually becoming less than animals. Nevertheless, although they are eating the flesh of cows and are envious of Brahminical culture, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considering how to deliver them from this horrible condition of life. But another problem is they don't think they are in horrible condition of life. They think we are enjoying, we are in the best state of life. So that's why it becomes very difficult to preach to such people. Thus he asks all Indians to take up his mission. Bharat bhumi te haile manushya janma ja. Janma sarthak kare kar par upakar. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. It is therefore the duty of every advanced and cultured Indian to take this cause very seriously. All Indians should help the Krishna consciousness movement in its progress to the best of their ability. Then they will be considered real followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unfortunately, even some so-called Vaishnavas enviously refuse to cooperate with this movement, but instead condemn it in so many ways. We are very sorry to say that these people try to find fault with us, being unnecessarily envious of our activities, although we are trying to the best of our ability to introduce a Krishna consciousness movement directly into the countries of the Yavans and Malechas. Such Yavans and Malechas are coming to us and becoming purified Vaishnavas who follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who identifies himself as a follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should feel like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who said, Iha sabara kon mate haive nistha. How will all these Yavans be delivered? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always anxious to deliver the fallen souls because their fallen condition gave him great unhappiness. That is a platform on which one can propagate the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So platform means unless we have this compassion for the fallen souls, for their fallen condition, and it gives par dukhe dukhi, that is Vaishnava, gives us great happiness, and we try to help them every way possible to make progress spiritually. That is Mahaprabhu's mission. But at the same time, one got to be careful. That's all. Uh, we don't have potencies like Nityanand Prabhu, who went straight to Jagai and Madhai and started preaching to him. So as I explained earlier, that if we are in a war and two soldiers came back wounded, one is highly wounded, one is lightly wounded. So we try to save the lightly wounded. The most wounded will maybe die anyway. And in the process, if we waste time in saving him, we might lose the lightly wounded also. So the point is just try to save, try to engage lightly wounded, means those who are little well-wisher. And slowly, actually, how it should work is the movement should have its own that critical mass. Means people get attracted to the movement automatically. Then the movement will grow very fast once it reaches the critical mass. Just like if we look at Sikhism, Guru Nanak Dev was contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sikhism, although yes, Guru Nanak Dev took some points from Vedas, Sanatana Dharma, some points from Islamic tradition, and he gave a combination. But look at Sikhs all over the world. People do recognize that. Of course, I don't think many people are joining Sikhism or becoming Sikhs. Some few we can see. I'm not saying not at all. Few are there. But their own families, they just continue to be Sikhs. And that's all. And then, of course, they have very good service attitude, whether it is food or hospitals or medicine. So any other way, they're always ready to serve. And that is how people appreciate their contribution. But ISKCON or Gaudiya Vaishnavism hasn't reached that critical mass yet. That is required. हरिदास कहे प्रभु चिंता न करी यावनेर संसार देखी दुख न भावी. Actually, this conversation between Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a book Harinam Chintamani. So this conversation is in that book, very nicely explained. Because Mahaprabhu wanted Haridas Thakur to glorify the holy names. And who else could be a better person than Namacharya himself? So Haridas Thakur will explain this. So here Haridas Thakur replied, "My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety, do not be unhappy to see the condition of the Yavans in material existence. These words of Haridas Thakur are just befitting a devotee who has dedicated his life and soul to the service of the Lord. When the Lord is unhappy because of the condition of the fallen souls, the devotee consoles him, saying, 'My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. This is service. Everyone should adopt the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. This is actually service to the Lord. One who tries to relieve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's anxiety for the fallen souls is certainly a most dear and confidential devotee of the Lord. To blaspheme such a devotee who is trying his best to spread the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest offense. One who does so is simply awaiting punishment for his envy.' But this blasphemy goes on every day, everywhere. That's the problem. And Prabhupada said, he's simply awaiting punishment for his envy. Yavana sakalera mukti have anayase, haram haram bali kahe naam bhase. Because the Yavans are accustomed to saying haram, 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 oh Lord Ram. But Lord will considers them as saying Ram, ha Ram, hey Ram, Lord. They will very easily be delivered by this namabhas. Mahapreme bhakta kahe haram, haram. Yavanera bhagya deka lahe saina. A devotee in advanced ecstatic love exclaims, "Oh my Lord Ramchandra, oh my Lord Ramchandra." But the Yavans also chant, Haram, Haram, just see their good fortune. Many times people ask this question listening to this logic by Haridas Thakur, that these Yavans, they're very, very sinful, killing the cows, killing Brahmanical culture. And just by saying haram, and although they don't even mean it, chanting the names of the Lord, they will be delivered. But see, this is the potency of the holy name. Nam Abhas stage. They're not, this chanting is not at Nam Aparad stage. So there are three stages: Nam Aparad, Nam Abhas, and Shuddha Nam. Of course, this is not Shuddha Nam. So no getting Krishna Prem, but it's a Nam Abhas stage. That's the potency of the holy name. It's not the sinfulness of the sinner that matters here now. It's the potency of the holy name. And the Lord name comes with the mercy of the Lord. If a child touches fire, the fire will burn him. And if an elderly man touches fire, it will burn him also. Haridas Thakur says that a great devotee of the Lord exclaims, Haram, Haram. But although Yavans do not know the transcendental meaning of Haram, they say those words in the course of their ordinary life. For the Yavans, the words Haram means abominable, whereas the devotee exclaims the words Haram in ecstatic love. Nevertheless, because the words Haram are the spiritual summum bonum, the fact is the same, whether they are uttered by Yavans or by great devotees, just as fire is the same both for a child and for an elderly. In other words, the holy name of the Lord, Haram, always acts, even when the holy name is chanted without reference to the Supreme Lord. Yavans utter the holy name in a different attitude than devotees, but the holy name, Haram, is so powerful spiritually that it acts anywhere, whether one knows it or not. This is explained as follows. यद्यपि अन्य संकेते अन्य है नाम भास तथापि नामेर तेज न है विनाश. Namacharya Haridas Thakur, the authority on the chanting of the holy name, said, the chanting of the Lord's holy name to indicate something other than the Lord is an instance of namabhas. Even when the holy name is chanted in this way, its transcendental power is not destroyed. Damshtri danshtrahato malecho harameti puna puna uktvapi muktim apanoti kim puna shodhaya grina. Even a Malech who's being killed by the tusk of a boar and who cries in distress again and again, Haram, Haram, attains liberation. But then to speak of those who chant the holy name with veneration and faith. This refers to an instance in which a meat eater being killed by a boar uttered the words Haram, Haram again and again at the time of his death. So why he was uttering? Because just like in Islamic tradition, boar is considered very abominable animal. They don't want to be next to a boar. But somehow the boar was being killed by a the meat eater or Muslim was being killed by a boar. And when he was touched by the tusk of the boar, he just said, Haram, this is haram. But he chanted the names of Ram. Since this is a quotation from the Narsimha Puran, this indicates that in the Puranic age, there must also have been Malechas and Yavans. Meat is okay, so it wasn't Islam, Muslim, but some other Yaman. And that the words haram, meaning condemned, were also uttered in those days. Thus, Haridas Thakur gives evidence that even a meat eater who condemns something by uttering the words haram gets the benefit of chanting the holy name that the devotee chants to mean, O my Lord, Ram. Ajamil putre bolaya Bali Narayan, Vishnu Duta asi chadai tahara band. Ajamil was a great sinner during his life, but at the time of death, he accidentally called for his youngest son, whose name was Narayan, and the attendants of Lord Vishnu came to relieve him from the bonds of Yamraj, the superintendent of death. Ramadui akshariha nahe vyavahita, prema vachiha shabda tahate bhushita. The word Ram consists of two syllables, Ra and Ma. These are unseparated and are decorated with the loving word Ha, means O. Namera akshara sabe reita swabhav vyavahite ailena chade apane prabha. The letters of the holy name have so much spiritual potency that they act even when uttered improperly. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states that the word vyavahita, improperly uttered, is not used here to refer to the mundane vibration of the letters of the alphabet. Such negligent utterance for the sense gratification of materialistic persons is not a vibration of the transcendental sound. Utterance of the holy name while one engages in sense gratification is an impediment on the path towards achieving ecstatic love for Krishna. On the other hand, if one who is eager for devotional service utters the holy name, even partially or improperly, the holy name, which is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exhibits its spiritual potency because of that person's offenseless utterance. So if it is offensive chanting, it will not have the desired result. But if it offenseless, even it is at Namabhasa stage, it will have the results proper. Thus one is relieved from all unwanted practices and one gradually awakens his dormant love for Krishna. So for dormant love, one has to chant on the purest stage, Shuddha Nam. Namekam yasya vachi smarana pathagatam shrotram moolam gatam va shuddham vashuddha varnam vyavahita rasitam taryati eva satyam chachet deha dravena janata lova pashanda madhye nikshiptam syanana phala janakam shighram evatra vipar. If a devotee once utters the holy name of the Lord, or if it penetrates his mind or enters his ear, which is the channel of oral reception, that holy name will certainly deliver him from material bondage, whether vibrated properly or improperly, with correct or incorrect grammar, or properly joined or vibrated in separate parts. For Brahman, the potency of the holy name is therefore certainly great. However, if one uses the vibration of the holy name for the benefit of the material body, for material wealth and followers, or under the influence of greed or atheism, in other words, if one utters the name with offenses, such chanting will not produce the desired result very soon. Therefore, one should diligently avoid offenses in chanting the holy names of the Lord. This verse from the Padma Puran is included in Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. Wherein Srila Sanatana Goswami gives the following explanation. This means that if one somehow or other hears, utters, or remembers the holy name, or if it catches his mind while coming near his ears, that holy name, even if vibrated in separate words, will act. So separate words, example is given. Suppose one is using the two words, halam, riktam. So no chanting of the holy names. Now the syllable ha in the word halam and the syllable ri in riktam are separately pronounced. But nevertheless, the holy name will act because one somehow or other utters the word Hari. And we can't even imagine the merciful nature of the Lord. He's not even saying chant the holy name probably. Hari in Halam Riktam. That makes it Hari. Similarly, in the word Raj Mahishi, the syllables Ra and Ma appear in two separate words, but because they somehow or other appear together, the holy name Ram will act, provided there are no offenses. Offenses means not offensive when we chant the holy names for some material benefits. The holy name has so much spiritual potency that it can deliver one from all sinful reactions and material entanglements. But utterance of the holy name will not be very soon fruitful if done to facilitate sinning. When we speak of offenses to the holy names every morning, we read that list. And the seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting of the holy name. So that is offensive. That's namaparad. So we'll not have the desired result of chanting a holy name if we do that. The holy name is so powerful that it must act. But when one utters the holy name with offenses, its action will be delayed, not immediate. Although in favorable circumstances, the holy names of the Lord act very quickly. In favorable circumstances. Yes, because Nam, it is said, is even bigger than the Lord himself. Why? It's not different, but sometimes in its potencies, it's bigger or stronger. Because somehow, if we are in any trouble situation, any place, we can chant the holy names. It's not like the Lord means the deity of the Lord. We're going to go take shelter of the deity because it's not there. But Harinam can be there anywhere. So that is why we have to make ourselves so truthful, so faithful, practice so much of chanting that any problem, anywhere, anytime it comes, just holy name should come out from our mouth. So sometimes we say, no, the test will be there. And the test is to see whether in that situation, suppose we face an accident, suppose. I hope nothing happens to anybody. Then at the time of accident, what's the first thing that came from our mouth? What is the first name? What is the first thing that we said? What's the first thing that came to our mind? Those are the unit tests before the final exam. It just a mundane example is there. And this we must be reading on WhatsApp groups. Suppose you're standing with a cup of coffee in your hand, and your little son runs into you, and you spill your coffee on your shirt. And you get angry at your son that why did you run into me? And now you spoiled my day and this and that. But what was the reason of the spilling of coffee? So whether it was you were not holding it properly, whether the sun ran into you with so much speed that you got off balance, and that was no. The reason for spilling of coffee is because the cup had that coffee. Similarly, so what's inside us will come out at the time of problem, at the time of trouble, or when we are very happy also. For that, there's another explanation. What do we get when you squeeze an orange? We get orange juice. Why? Because that's what it is in there. So we have to put so much of holy name in our inside that when somebody squeezes us, only the Harinam comes, nothing else. So when somebody runs into us, the cup is shaking, so what spills is Harinam, nothing else. So that's how much practice we need. At any time, anywhere, something happens, only Harinam should come out because that's all is inside us. So it comes with practice, practice, practice. Of course, Harinam is not different from the Lord, so his mercy will also be there. But we have to do our part. Nama bhasa haite hai sarva papakshay. Namacharya Hardas Thakur continued, if one offenselessly utters the holy name, even imperfectly, one can be freed from all the results of sinful life. Tam nirvajyam bhajaguna nidhe pavanam pavnana Shraddharabhyan matir atitaram uttam shloka mauli. Prodayan antakaranas kuhre hanta yan nama bhanor abhaso api kshapayati mahapataka dhvantarasi. O reservoir of all good qualities, just worship Shri Krishna, the purifier of all purifiers. The most exalted of the personalities worshipped by choice poetry. Worship him with a faithful, unflinching mind, without duplicity, and in a highly elevated manner. Thus worship the Lord, whose name is like the sun. For just as a slight appearance of the sun dissipates the darkness of night, so a slight appearance of the holy name of Krishna can drive away all the darkness of ignorance that arises in the heart due to greatly sinful activities performed in previous lives, or even in this life, who knows? But Harinam can remove anything and everything, all papa kshaya. All the results of sinful activities are gone. So this is from Bhakti Rasamrit Simple. Nama bhasa haite hai samsare kshay. Even a faint light from the holy name of the Lord can eradicate all the reactions of sinful life. Mriyamano harera nama grinan putro pacharitam ajamilo api agadadham kim utta shuddhaya grina. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? So this case of Ajamil, we know, we have read about him. So Ajamil, he was 88 years old, but he got so attached to his little son, whom he had named Narayan. Narayan come here, Narayan go there, Narayan eat, Narayan sleep, Narayan do this, Narayan do that. So it was his constant chanting. It wasn't, although he was calling his son, but nevertheless, the name is of the Supreme Lord. So unknowingly, for the love of his son, he practiced this chanting of the holy names. And that took effect when the Yamdutas came to take him. So this practice has to go on very, very seriously. नाम अभासे मुक्ति है सर्व शास्त्र देखी श्री भागवते ताते अजामे लक्षाक्षी. Because of even the faintest rays of the effulgence of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. We can see this in all the revealed scriptures. The evidence appears in the story of Ajamil in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shuniya prabhur sukh badayantare punarapi bhangi kare puchay tahare. As Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this from Haridas Thakur, the happiness within his heart increased, but as a matter of course, he still inquired further. So, I guess we can stop here and take up this conversation tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Prabhuji, Yavans are who? Are they Muslims or?
As Prabhupada explained, those who are cow killers and the killers of Brahminical culture.
Huh.
So they could be anybody.
Okay. Because there was one Kal Yavan, right, during that Dwapar phase. So Kal Yavan and his appearance is like, keeping that beard like a Muslim, and which was shown in the serials actually. So जैसे दिखाया था उसमें.
Serials will show which are
Yeah,
serial. You don't learn from serial, but I mean, Kalyavan, that time there was no Islam. Islam appeared only what?
exactly.
1400 years ago.
But that time they were killing cows.
Yeah. So when you said Yavans doesn't mean Muslims. They are like that, but Yavan could mean anybody who's killing cow and the Brahminical culture, against the Brahminical culture.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Chalo. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.